What's up, guys? MC, another video for you guys, another deck profile. Once again, this goes in more of the class of our Exodia deck. It's kind of a fun deck. It's basically Warrior Beatdown. A friend of mine used to run this deck, and he kind of passed it on to me once he stopped. And you'd be surprised at how fun it is. It works really well. Like, Necro Valley seems to have a really hard time against it for God knows what reason. Probably the Noblemen's mess with the Spies engine, but it swarms really fast. It works really nicely. It's incredibly fun to use. I'll always drop my deck to run this one. It's just really nice. So we'll start off. We got two Marauding Captains. It's just the famous card, the whole backbone of the deck. You can get like a really big swarm going on them. Like, one thing this deck is known for is to exterm their back card. Like reinforce Rhoda out MST or Mystic Swordsman 2. Special summon Cyber, summon Marauding, summon 2, run over their face down, hit them for a shit ton of damage. That works really nicely. Cyber Dragons, just again in this format, amazing. We've always run 2 Cyber Dragons in this deck. This just works out really well, runs over Glad Beasts. 2 Assailant. I like Assailant. One of the main reasons is if, especially when you get offensive with them, like if you summon him and attack, what's really fun is if they collude you, they just went -2. So that works out really nicely. Same thing with Honest. 3 Warrior Lady is a staple in a Warrior deck. It works great. It removes their key stuff, knocks down their walls, gets out of big hitters out of the way. It works really nicely. 2 Exile Force, same kind of thing as the Warrior Ladies. It's just a nice 1-for-1 trade. You could search it out with Rhoda, kind of gets over big stuff. You can summon Marauding, summon him, take their face down. It works really nicely. Breaker, a forgotten card in this format, works amazing in this deck. He just knocks down oppressions. He knocks down like dimensional fissures. He works really nicely. I'm surprised more people don't use him.
He should be a warrior.
He should be a warrior. But on top of that, I've never not considered this card a staple, even now when no one runs it. DD Survivor, just for bottomless, it works really nicely. Like, you summon that, sometimes you get the slip on them and they activate bottomless. Like, oh shit, because no one sees this card anymore. Dawn, just to poke away at their hand. That's the funnest thing in the world now. Most fun thing, I guess. Anyway, works really nicely since nobody's running the random golds anymore. Wild Heart is hilarious. This card, I've won games with him alone. Like, he just runs people down. We combo with drop-offs here to kind of mess with their draw engine, because this deck doesn't have a lot of draw power, and if you knock their big stuff away, Wild Heart just eats them alive. MST, or Mystic Swordsman, level 2, and Reinforcements is just a great combo. Those guys work really well together. Runs over since everybody's setting now. Sanguine staple. Big Shield, kind of a weird choice. You could search it out with Rhoda, but he's a nice little wall. Sometimes if they get a Monarch out and attack, you're like, okay, you just lost 200. It's kind of a nice fun thing to do. Jinzo has always been in this deck. He's not coming out, even with our 6 traps. He's just amazing. You can call him up. He just finishes it. Like, if you get him out and you have a swarm of warrior monsters, they're in serious trouble. 2 Noblemen's, a big favorite for this team. I don't know why. I don't know who won a Shonen Jump or a World Championship without Noblemen of Cross out, and everybody was just like, oh, let's ditch this card. That card is amazing. That card is so broken. If you hit a Raikou on a Dandy Warrior, that fucks their entire engine up. It's amazing. We run 2 in here. Exterm's also a really nice card, because it gets rid of Bottomless, which can mess this deck up. It gets rid of Dimensional Prisons, gets rid of Starlight, which I like about it. I really love that card. We had one time, like, we hit somebody's Infernity Barrier with that. That works out really nicely, because then those are all gone. Brain staple, Heavy staple, Mystic staple, Rhoda staple. Book 1 works pretty well. He combos with Swordsman and Nobleman pretty well. Sorry about that, guys. Ulti Vortex, which works really nicely in this kind of deck. What I like to do is ditch Jinzo and then call Jinzo up. Swords, just in case they get like a Monarch out and we're having trouble dealing with it. Stalls for a little bit of time. It's always kind of been in here. I've always liked it. Enemy, because we run Scapegoats, those combo well together. Warrior Returning Alive allows you to abuse Exile. That works really nicely. Scapegoat I already discussed. And my body for a Swarm deck is really necessary. Now these are kind of the tech of the deck right here. Drastic Drop-Offs work really well with all the draw power that's in this format. What's really nice about it is, it being a counter trap and all, they can't drop anything to chain to it, but also, since this deck doesn't have a lot of draw power, it kind of messes with their hand. If you hit them with Dawn, it kind of takes some of that hand control away, so they have a little more trouble dealing with the Swarm, so that works out really nicely. Call to bring up Jinzo, to bring up Exile, more abuse. Mirror staple, 1st edition, really nice. And Torrential staple. Alright, now for the side deck. This isn't like a really great side deck, but it works pretty well for this deck, and like I said, it hasn't really changed for a while. 1 Cliff, this guy is really old school. Old dude I used to know who played, used to run him. He works really well. He actually messes with Necro Valley really badly, because he just keeps destroying their field spell. GB Hunter to mess up Glad Beast. Get to Fuma, which I think screws with zombies and fiends. I don't really remember. But yeah. Kaiku, really good in this format. Messes up, robs him of Plague, robs him of Key Infernity cards. Ceasefire works really nicely. Royal Oppression doesn't really hurt this deck as much as you might think, so that works really nicely. You can screw up less one and stuff. 2 Decrees, because that's just, I sided in Decree once against Necro Valley and just completely stomped the kid. It was horrifying. Like, combined with the beatdown of the Warrior, it's just so abusive. It works really nicely. Nature's Reflection is just for burn. This deck has had tough matchups against burn, so Nature's Reflection is to kind of counteract that. Alright, this deck is for sale, or we will sell little pieces of it. Like, that's a first edition MRD Mirror, first edition Lightning Ultimate. Some of the stuff in here is really nice, but like I said, it's more of a fun deck. It works really, really well. Trust me, if you run it, you'll love running it. It's really, really enjoyable to run. It's just kind of a low-key kind of deck. I really like it. But yeah, so if you want to put down an offer, go for it. If you have the cards, build it and just see how it works. Like I said, it's really enjoyable. So take it easy, guys. Let me know what you think.